Hello and welcome to Gauntlet City Limits. Gauntlet City Limits is a series of tabletop RPGs that are run for members of the Gauntlet community. Gauntlet community is a worldwide, online, and occasionally in meet space. We might like touch each other and hug and shake hands and stuff, but there's mostly over hangouts where we play tabletop RPGs, indie games, OSR games, and the like, and have a good time doing it. Gauntlet City Limits is a series that I have hosted for the last couple of years, where every month we pick a different RPG, really small book, indie RPG, some of them not even completely written, perhaps, and they're all set in Gauntlet City. So every month we have a new game, and primarily I've run those games, and people create their own neighborhoods within the city, and there's a little bit of connective tissue between some characters that appeared in, say, a Ninja Burger game, maybe referenced or show up in an Inspector's game, and then maybe later the Ninja Burger might be a place that the 1%er biker gang orders burgers from, all that kind of stuff. It's all referential, kind of fun stuff. And this month, here in July 2018, I have the distinct pleasure of being able to play in Gauntlet City Limits. And this is the second of two sessions. And this game is being run by my buddy, Ryan Macklin, the game he has written called Katanas and Trenchcoats. And so I will happily hand the baton to you, Ryan Macklin, and take over.
Well, to be fair, roughly 50 people have worked on this game's writing. It's not just me. So welcome to, so I am the embodiment of the darkest cosmos this evening. I am your story master, Ryan Macklin. And as the story master, I demand from the two of you a price for being able to play a second session of my game. And that price is what happened last time. What actually happened last time that you remember, that you care about enough that the darkest cosmos also remembers? Because I know facts, but if you don't remember them, it's like, oh, hey, do you remember that thing? You'd be like, no, not really. Like, well, then neither does the darkest cosmos. I'll throw it out. So I, of course, ask you what you remember, and I might fill in the details or stuff like that, or totally retcon. That's my privilege as the darkest cosmos, because this is basically playing a very 90s TV show-esque actual world. So what is it that, to remind ourselves of your characters, we don't have our immortal Cortez is not with us today. So obviously Cortez is going off and collecting skulls, doing skull hunting, I guess. But we have Rich, you've got Adrian Darkholm, Vampire DJ, and Jason, we have Austin Omega, time traveling car wizard savior. So what happened? What was the first episode of this game?
Well, the person who in Austin Omega's mind is the best DJ ever, Adrian Darkholm, was working a killer set at a rave inside of a warehouse shortly before a illegal car race, which I feel compelled to compete in order to save the future. And my rival, John Knight, he tried to disrespect me. And the only way to properly respond to that, especially in illegal car races in Herman's Village, is through dance-offs. And admittedly, he moved like a snake, but he was no match for my dope moves.
The puns are already happening. Right on. Bring it on. You may have one grandeur, which your grandeur incidentally resets every episode. You may have one grandeur for a pun, for that pun. Not every pun is getting it, but you started bringing a little flavor to the party. Incidentally, I've gone ahead and put the roll for your party from last time in the chat so you guys can join.
Thank you.
So yeah, so we had this dance off against a secret were snake, John Knight, in Herman's Village, which totally has crime and a chop shop and illegal racing and stuff like that. So I think that, and we were talking a bit about Adrian Darkholm, but Adrian Darkholm's corporeal embodiment, Rich, hasn't really talked much about Adrian and or Darkholm, depending on what name you go by at any given moment. Seriously, Adrian Darkholm. This is my game. This is what my game does. Is it makes people do this, and it loves it, and I love it too. But sometimes I just have to say, how painfully 90s.
Well, you inspired me.
Did Jason just really write Mr. Darkholm if you're nasty? And yes, Jason. That is also very 90s of you to frame it like that. Thank you. Thank you.
Adrian Darkholm is a vampire. He is several hundred years old. Some say 400, some say older, based on which flashback seems appropriate for the director of that particular episode/season.
For really getting into that and acknowledging the Darkest Cosmos' love of this being truly media, you may have a grandeur.
Yes, I am so excited about that. So he would be played by the 90s heartthrob Adrian Paul, who somehow we have basically used the Marvel movie magic to de-age the real Adrian Paul to play vampire Adrian Darkholm. He still has the lovely long hair, the dark eyes, and shirts that never cover this part of his chest. In last episode, Adrian Darkholm, whose throne of comfort is the clock tower in Irvine, one of the neighborhoods of Gauntlet City, had come out to DJ for this street race. And there he spotted a woman who looked exactly like a woman Adrian knew in the 1800s, who at that time was called Montessa Taliford. But this woman of modern day calls herself Tessa, and she's a street racer. And unfortunately, though Adrian he yearned to speak with her, when John Knight left after the street race, Tessa went with him, breaking his undead heart. But still, Austin Omega is here. Austin Omega is the last descendant of Adrian Darkholm's line. And he's from the future. We're not sure how that works. But Adrian is determined to make sure that his descendant doesn't die.
Your fan Tumblr already has theories.
Yes.
This game is all about fan Tumblr magic. Cool. So that does bring up that Adrian Darkholm's deep yearning is Tessa. And Throne of Comfort is the clock tower in Irvine. What is Austin Omega's deep yearning and Throne of Comfort?
Those are good questions because we had not really gotten into it last time.
Remember, I think your deep yearning was what, save the future or something like that?
Yeah, broadly speaking, his goal is to save the future by winning car races. Because it turns out that you can just drive a car and save the world. So that's the big thing. I think his Throne of Comfort, could I say the racing scene? Because that is where he is happiest and alive.
Let's make it a little bit more specific.
Okay.
Something is I'd say like your current deep yearning, because you can have many deep yearnings, but your current deep yearning has got to be save the future by winning like the big car race.
Yeah.
Whatever that is about to obviously happen.
Like the Tesla Cup.
That's or the Tessa cup, I suppose, depending on which one of you is talking in that moment when they. But yeah.
Could I? So another question there is because I've got my super cool car.
Huh?
But normally I don't know that would be a throne of comfort, but that is another thing.
It's not. It's like an immortal sword is not the throne of comfort. It's not a weapon. Sure. If it's a throne of comfort, it's a thing that I'm as the story master. You're saying like you should totally break this. You should totally make this a problem.
Well, then obviously I need my own chop shop that's able to handle my super advanced car.
All right, sweet. Your chop shop. All right, awesome. So yeah, so those are both the things. The deep yearning is a thing for me to play with that you want that I dangle in front of you, and the throne of comfort is the thing that you would want to save if I were to light it on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the XP triggers involve if anybody works on anybody's deep yearning or throne of comfort in a session, they get XP. They're the button pokes. Cool. And the things that let me know that I should frame a scene around something. Sweet. Because yeah, I didn't have those in my notes. I think I just recall broadly that Rich's was already fleshed out, at least with Tessa.
Yeah.
Like, and your like save the future was fleshed out, but we hadn't really talked much about thrones of comfort. So cool. All right. Then and then yeah. So Cortez, our immortal, is not appearing in this episode. So let's talk about ooh, you guys actually have like character sheets up and everything. Sweet. I'm gonna take a look at those. Nice. Those are very choice pictures there. For both of you. I love this already. Sweet. Okay, cool. Then let's go ahead and talk about what's going on next. So obviously we do like a hard break because it's a new episode. And I think that this is going to be so this is going to be an episode that let's start us in your chop shop. Let's go ahead and start with an Austin Omega's chop shop. So describe the chop shop, the particularly things that you may grab as weapons improvisationally, or might be very flammable.
Fair enough. So from the outside, like a lot of Herman's Village, it appears to be a little bit run down. But once you get inside, it is super not. Especially because Austin Omega's general demeanor is slick. We did cover that last time. So there's an awful lot of stuff that is just shiny. It's not mirrored. It's shiny. And where many chop shops might be kind of a dirty garage, his stuff is very orderly. But it is actually, like I said, it's a super advanced car. And part of that means he has things like tanks of nitrous on hand. There's relatively heavy power tools. And, you need welding torches. And those are pretty organized and at hand. But he's also from a dark future. So he's got things set up like one of those fighting dummies that has all the wooden pegs sticking out of it and things like that to exercise and prepare for the day that the apocalypse comes if he's not able to stop it. I can keep going.
Oh no, that's fantastic. So we just sort of like so right now, if you're in a calm moment, are you working on a car? Are you trying to research about how you stop the next dark future event? Like what's the moment that happens before things go bad?
I think that because the big race is coming up, he is underneath the car and working on it right at that moment. And yeah, so as the camera comes in, he's I think humming the tune that Adrian Darkholm was spinning last night when he won the day.
All right, sweet. So with that, let us refresh how the rules work, because I'm going to have you be in a precarious situation depending on how well electronic dice are in your favor. So, would you like to know dangers that are about to happen before they happen?
You know, I'll tell you, I've been playing Omega as kind of a seat of his pants kind of guy, so I'm going to say no. I do want it.
Oh, okay. In that case, we can totally dispense a roll of you actually not getting the were snakes getting the drop on you, and they just hit you.
Awesome. We can do that.
Sweet.
I do want to ask though, does our Numa refresh back up to 7?
Yes. Your Numa refreshes at the beginning of an episode, regardless of, like, even in the middle of a cliffhanger or whatever. New session, full on refresh. If you have wounds that you've taken, then like one of those bins refreshes. So yeah, I don't know if you guys had taken much in the way of wounds.
No, the Immortal had, but we hadn't.
Okay, so yeah, so you guys hadn't. And then so yeah, and then your wound bins for so you have the core wounds, which are useful for anything. You've got 3 of those. You have 2 wound bins in your Throne of Comfort or Deep Yearning, and then which, so that you can access that wound bin if that's the situation you're in, which you're in your Throne of Comfort, so you basically can take more punishment before having to go out. And then for the Car Wizard, your 3rd wound bin is being extreme. So if you're being extreme, you can take more punishment.
All right.
Yeah. And then the Vampire's 3rd wound is in social situations where you can take more punishment. In those sort of very much the like you can push your way a lot further in a social situation, and Austin Omega can like kick flip his way to victory.
Is there just one bin on that?
There's 2 boxes in that bin. So yeah.
All right.
And it is, yes, X-stream is how it's in the book currently.
Nice.
So all right, so so sweet. All right, so yeah, in that case, we will go ahead and just say you failed the roll. The Darkest Cosmos loves that idea, and we'll give you grandeur for the fact that you will essentially have to immediately deal with consequences of, let's just say, being attacked while your car is also being hacked, but you don't know that second part.
All right.
So yeah, so so what we see in the camera is that werebeasts or weresnakes enter, and you can totally tell they're weresnakes because they're actually showing their scales some, right? Like they're not hiding. They are wearing the colors of, or like not the colors, like what would you say is kind of Hell's Angel-ish for Herman's Village? Is there like an existing really bad person like group of folk that you guys like to play with?
There are several in point of fact. I guess the easiest thing would be to go for the gang, which is pagan soldiers.
All right, so sweet. All right, so these are a bunch of. So describe to me what pagan soldiers look like, but also remember they're weresnakes.
Okay. Well, pagan soldiers are a motorcycle gang. They dress as you would expect from Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
Their symbol is kind of a it's like a demonic skull, so it's like a horse head with great big horns that's wearing a like old World War I hat on top of it. And generally speaking, they're just vicious assholes.
All right, cool. So the same costume department for that is what this episode is using. So they're just legit reusing the same props
Nice.
from one game to another, because shows did that in the 90s. Shows did that period all the time. So yeah. So they come in, and well, you've chosen to not hear them, and that's fantastic because they're were snakes. They're like slippery and stuff. And there are 3 of them who have entered the door silently, and like you're like maybe under the hood or like actually physically underneath the
He
car.
was physically under the car. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So cool.
Little rolling things.
Yeah. So like one of them like takes a let's just say there's like a nearby hammer or something or thing that is hammer like and does the classic thing of like of hitting the crank that keeps the car up so that it's starting to come down on you, and then would you like to not be crushed?
I would very much like not to be crushed.
Fantastic. All right, so this is just sort of a kickoff moment here, and these guys don't currently have names. The Darkest Cosmos doesn't want to crush you; it just wants you to have to pay for the privilege of not being crushed. So I, as the story master, am going to roll 4 dice, and it's an attack. Effectively, it will do wounds if it wins. And you trying to not get crushed. I assume that you're gonna use the move domain to get out of the way.
I am, in point of fact.
All right.
My intent is to use the fact that I am on a rolling cart to kick off and slide out as fast as I can.
So yeah. And then so what essence would that be?
I feel I can make a pretty good case for that being finesse because I'm relying on my speed.
Then yeah, then in that case, you've got finesse plus cunning is 6 dice. What color dice was I using before? I apparently was using red.
I don't even see dice on here anymore. So whichever ones you have.
Oh yeah, I cleared them all off.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Okay, well, I see red right now. It's the thing that's selected, so I will. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and submit my just 4 dice. I have 2 successes because 7s and higher are successes.
All right. And I have 2.
All right. So, okay. So you have 2 successes. I have 2 successes. So, so that is a tie. That would effectively go to me. I'll actually open this one so I can see more. So, let me go ahead and remind you all, which is say remind myself because I want to make sure that I'm actually playing by my own rules. Fancy that, right? A tie when attacking. It's a weak hit, basically. All right, cool. Okay, so what happens then is that this is not a greater weapon against you. It's a lesser weapon because it's not. It's your own house. It's not gonna. The Darkest Cosmos is not going to consider this to be a massive weapon against you. So because we just tied, that's what's or a weak hit. Then what's going on there is that you're pinned under this. It gives an advantage to the were snakes that you're pinned. Sort of like a fate aspect kind of thing, or other games that do that. And in order to not be pinned, you actually have to do something about it. Or they have to like not pin you anymore, but something has to be done about that status. But yeah. Let's see here. So cool. In that case, go ahead and but then what does it look like when you are suddenly pinned under your car?
I think that what it's actually done, like he slid out because it didn't land on him hard enough to crush him. But I'm going to say that it's caught his leather jacket underneath one of the tires.
Okay.
So he's actually just he's grabbed on there, and it's a heavy car and it's high quality leather, by God.
So you're there pinned. You've got these three were snake thugs that are they're looking at you like you're essentially like your dinner, or like you're somebody they need to, basically they're going to kill you right here, but they're looking to toy with you. So yeah, so one of them says, "Those are some fancy moves that you put forward last night, or I guess earlier tonight. How would you do without those feet?" And he had, I don't know, there's a machete. You take your feet.
Yeah.
Seems weird. All right, cool. So that's actually a good moment to go ahead and cut. And move to Rich.
Great.
So yeah, so I don't know, that's the thing. So cool. Let's go ahead and set yours in your throne of comfort. So describe your moody clock tower.
Right.
And just really ham up the moodiness if you want, Grandeur.
Okay. So as we come into the clock tower, of course, we come through the clock. So there's this moonlight, this beam, the shaft of moonlight across old wooden floor. No creature comforts, no rugs. There is a table, and seated at the table with the moonlight over him, high back chair, is none other than Adrian Darkholm. He's seated at the table. He has his decks and a headset, and he's listening and remixing some kind of Danny Elfman inspired music, little dance macabre type stuff. He has a small video screen, but this is 90s, so it's like closed circuit television type thing that he's watching. An area just outside of the clock tower where he's set up his own security. He's not foolish like that Omega kid, right? He's been around for a while. He sets up things. He's wise in the ways of technology, and he hires people to do that stuff.
Right. He's wise in the ways of hiring people.
Yes, he's wise in the ways of paying money to people who do things for him. And he pauses for a moment while mixing. You see the records, and he looks and he sees that a little bit of his black nail polish is chipped. So he pulls out a file. He files that a bit, and he starts reapplying his black nail polish.
So cool. This is where so you get a polite knock at your, let's just say sanctum. Can we say sanctum?
Sanctum is right. Yeah, hits the spot for me.
Yeah. It's a very polite knock at your sanctum.
Cool. He switches over to look at the closed circuit camera to see who is outside before he deigns to answer.
So it's clearly like a very important person's footman. And there is and it's sort of at the camera, sort of just very much like as though they know that you're looking, because it's that sort of show where it's now time to show that. It's just a business card being held up with the symbol of Scars Sub Rosa, that super high-end secret sort of supernatural nightclub.
Oh, good.
That exists, that we decided exists in Irvin.
Nice. Good.
And that Yeah, and that is the calling card of the proprietor of it, who is a I don't know. People are like, I don't know, demon person, vampire, immortal. No one really knows. Mystery. But yes, you basically are being asked to to you're being courted right now.
Oh, good.
Because these are not sort of people who knock if they don't want to knock.
It's a footman. I understand. He works through intermediaries. I am familiar with the practice.
Right. Do you have a footman who will answer the door?
Oh, no.
Or do you not have people here?
I don't have people here. That's they may ask for conversation, and I can't brood when they're asking me these things.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Mixing, it's very important.
So this is a essentially an offer of does this person come in or do you spurn this person because you're so busy mixing?
I am deeply involved in my art, but the Scarsa Rosa is something that I would not scoff at. So he steps up and he walks to the clock tower and he pushes the glass on a hinge and he steps out onto a ledge. He's standing over the area where this guy is knocked.
So he just looks up. So is this person all the way down at the ground and
he's like a few stories down. Of course, Adrian can hear him. He could talk in a normal voice. I don't know if he's hip enough to know of my preternatural senses.
But I mean, obviously, I mean, you're clearly like, a top shelf vampire. This is top shelf vampire house.
It is. It's the clock towers. Like I had to trade up, really.
Yeah. So, but he's not saying anything. He's just holding the card up.
When?
He still gestures at the door.
It's a long moment. This is going to involve conversation. Adrian's social, but he doesn't. When he's caught up in the mood, it bothers him. But he will step inside, and then he'll walk down several flights of stairs at incredible speed, and then open the door. Please come in.
And then from behind you, you hear "Thank you."
Whip around,
and this like very tall, like gaunt woman, who like could very well, who looks like she is in her 60s, sort of is just behind you now. And this is the owner of Scarsa Rosa, Lilith Lust.
Last name is Lust?
Yes. Like the sin.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Miss Lust.
And then that's when the footman just leaves because the footman's done the job.
Yep. Good job, footman. I won't congratulate him, but I respect that. Miss Lust, welcome to my abode.
And she just gestures at you to like lead her upstairs, like, shall we? I will have something I want to discuss with you.
Of course. And then there's creaking up the stairs. The clock tower is very old. It should have been shut down. It's been condemned before, but Adrian has people. That's why he leads her up and he gestures to a seat.
It's cool. All right. Then she sits down. Like definitely like waits for you to like offer her whatever refreshment you're gonna offer her. Like she's like you're now playing host. She's judging you.
Oh, nice. May I offer
So,
you a refreshment, Miss Lust?
and we can kind of push this a little bit to make
Okay.
it. So what we're gonna do is essentially, if you want to impress her,
Mm-hmm.
then the Darkest Cosmos is going to ask you to roll dice to reflect essentially how well you're able to do that.
Okay, that sounds lovely to me.
And that's where, and then we'll sort of play out with the dice like how that ends up looking. But to pre-game that scene, that would be Influence, which is a vampire's jam.
It is, yeah.
And what you're really looking for at this point is that not just like general, like, hey, do you like influence this person or whatever, but she's come here to possibly offer something to you. So
Cool.
like how easy it is for you to get this without a cost is going to be what this sort of roll hinges on. And then from there, we basically gonna like make that roll and then play the scene out.
Mm-hmm. To remind me, I have an influence of 3.
And
Am
then
I able to bring in an essence as well?
you also bring in an essence.
Okay.
Where so it's going to be in essence a
domain.
A domain.
Mm-hmm.
If you had any other dice to bring in, those would apply, but they don't necessarily like apply right now. It's just like there are some things where like in this situation get an extra die, or I have an advantage, get a die. But right now you just have the 6 dice.
Okay, yeah. I'm going with 6.
You can spend Numa to get more dice, but we don't have to worry about that right now.
Okay, then I'll just go ahead and roll the 6 dice.
Yep. And I'm also going to go ahead and roll 6 dice.
Oh, crap.
Yes. Game recognized game. So once you're done with your dice, I will roll mine.
Okay. What is my target number?
7s and higher. So
I got a pitiful 2.
I have all of them.
Holy crap. She is awesome.
She is apparently awesome. I was not expecting all of them to be.
Go, Miss Lust. You are obviously the best.
All right. So sweet. So this is what we call currently a critical hit because it's 3. We hadn't seen one of those last time.
I know.
It's when you have 3 or more successes over the other person, that is a critical hit or critical failure. Now, what I can do is and I think this will maybe come out in a point, is that at some point I'll essentially offer you a bargain that turns this into a success for you at a deep cost. So let's talk. So now that we've used the dice to figure out kind of where we're going to like shape the scene, but it doesn't mean the scene's going to turn out that way. It's just sort of like where we're going to start from, if that makes sense. Sure. Okay, cool. And hang on one moment here. All right. So then, so with that, I want you to go ahead and propose that offering. Just go ahead and
offering the drink.
Yeah, the offering, the drink. Sort of. Yes. Now we're going to pick up from there.
Miss Lust, may I offer you some refreshment, some wine, perhaps?
Sure. She's like very much like kind of bored right now.
I'm very impressed that you would come from Scarsaprosa to visit me. What is it that I may do for you?
So she, like, at whatever point, takes the wine, doesn't even drink it.
It's in a goblet, right?
Yeah, it's a goblet.
It's red.
Yeah, exactly. Just doesn't drink it. It's just there. It says, play something for me.
goes over to the decks and flicks a switch from it to go just to the headphones, to these large speakers that were obfuscated before, or perhaps were never there until important in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And starts to mix up something that we've licensed from Paul Oakenfold. It's a trancey, dark kind of
you can have grandeur for spending budget of the show on dark Paul Oakenfold.
Yes.
2 or 3 for you.
That is my second grandeur.
Excellent. For pronouncing it grandeur, it's 3 now. And remember, getting 10 grandeur is gonna get you all XP at the end of the session, and getting 25 unlocks some sort of weird, sweet event for your characters.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely motivated because I need XP to go up in a level for our 3rd session.
Sure. I see what you did there.
We're gonna need more players.
Yes. So, but yes. So yeah. So you're having this this moment. You are playing clearly an original composition. And she says, yes, but my club needs something more, something that's never been played before, if you are going to present at my club.
I see. What you're asking for is audible alchemy to create the darkest of beats for the emptiest of hearts.
All right, so Jason is getting the grandeur.
Yes, you should. That'd be a great line.
Because
totally
that was his
the
line.
grandeur.
But your presentation of it also were the grandeur.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll take it.
So yeah. No, you guys both have that. Because that was amazing. I loved it. So yeah. So all right, you know what? She's actually, I think that's like sort of represents one of the 2 successes you've got there.
Okay.
Sort of toward even though she's essentially an ancient being that is not easily impressed. But she's like, sort of raises an eyebrow and says, "Yes, I will take that."
Nice. And then he will start cutting a new track, right?
And in exchange for that, I would give you something, but only in exchange for that.
What is it that you offer me, Miss Lust, other than the chance to play at Scar Sabrosa?
Oh, I was not talking about that exactly. But what I would, you have your sights set on a silent creature, one that has forgotten their way. Yes?
Yes.
She's like, looks at you with it like, are you really playing with me?
Are you speaking of Omega?
No, I'm speaking of your former beloved, now trapped in. I know, child. I know. I would give you the, well, let's admittedly call it really, really creepy power to know where this person is at all times.
All for this song?
No, all for your audible alchemy.
You want my power, not my music, but the way in which I create it.
You catch on.
That's a heavy cost.
And there's the cost of whether or not you get this thing that I was going to offer you.
Man, that's a heavy, heavy cost. Holy crap. Can we cut away? I need to think about that.
All right.
God, Rich, you need to think about that.
Yeah, you do.
He'd just be a vampire. He'd lose his DJ skills.
He would lose his DJ skills. Is that worth it to be a creepy vampire stalker? Because again, we're playing with vampire Twilight rules. Guess all vampires are stalkers. It's great. So, sweet. Now we're gonna cut back to Austin Omega. So now these were snakes want to take your feet as some sort of weird trophy, or it's were snake fetish. I don't know. But it's now your action in the flow. And I would tell you right now, the stakes of it are how far you can push essentially to get them out of your shop before the other thing that you don't know is happening has time to happen. Which is to say, your car totally being sabotaged.
Right.
So what do you do to kick ass in this moment? Well, you're pinned underneath. But you have the rest of your limbs, and they're overconfident were snakes.
Yeah. I think Omega says, "You want my feet? Let's see how you do without yours." And he takes the trolley out from under his back and flings it across the ground. So he tries to take their feet out with the little rolling trolley.
All right, sweet. That sounds like fight. If what you're looking to do is to wound them or wound the scene.
I'm willing to take that.
Yeah. And I will let you tell me what essence that is.
Well, in an ideal world, I can claim finesse again, but this
you can.
All right. Well, I'll live in the ideal world if the Darkest Cosmos will not stop that.
No, the Darkest Cosmos. You're not using the exact same pair the 2 or 3 or 4 times in a row, so it's like you're still changing it up.
Yeah.
If you constantly are using finesse the whole time, it'd be like, all right, well, you know what? I think now I'm going to use 7 dice against you.
All right. Cool.
So
yeah. So he's trying to take their feet out with the trolley.
Sweet. I'm going to go ahead and to delete this die and then re-roll the other dice that I have selected. Re-roll them selected dice. Oh, wow. All right, now it's your turn to roll dice. I got a success.
All right. I got 4.
Okay, well again, we have that thing called a critical hit. So what happens is that a hand trolley or the rolly thing, that is merely a normal weapon. It's not somehow infused with greater power to give you that 1 extra bump of guaranteed damage. So what's going to happen in the scene? Effectively, these were beasts have 4 hits that they can take, and they're trying to basically take you out or last 3 rounds. So that's sort of where we're at right now. But you've just done 2 wounds to them, to the werebeasts. So with their so you've done that by knocking 2 of them over, 2 of them down. One of them, no, I think. So machete guy knocked down hammer person who knocked a thing, not knocked down other person who has no weapon specified yet, knocked down. So give me a little bit, we're starting to see Austin Omega be awesome right now. So I want to give you the chance to describe, given that circumstance, how Austin Omega is awesome Omega. I get grandeur for that.
This is purely damage. It's not like he gets to free himself too, right?
You know what? If you I'll take back 1 of those damages to free yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
But I can describe the whole scene that way.
Yeah. Yep. Describe the whole scene.
All right. So he pulls the thing out from him and wings it. And it actually doesn't go straight, like the wheels hit, and it goes spinning up into one of the snake guy's knees.
Mm-hmm.
And they they don't actually know my chop shop as well as they should. As I mentioned, it's pretty shiny, and some places it's pretty slick, and I know where that is. So it hits him in the knees, and he comes down, and the trolley actually hits against the back wall and slides forward to get the other guy. And while that's going on, Austin dislocates his shoulder and pulls himself out of his leather jacket so that he's battle damage Austin Omega, and just rams it back into the car, and then looks back at them and goes, "Let's dance."
All right. So that's your attack then. All right. So that is effectively a round has gone on. So they're going to go ahead and now that they're and now this is like a full on fight moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be whoever wins in that given exchange is going to end up basically going to like do wounds to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, go ahead.
Just a rules question real quick so that I'm clear. Mm-hmm. So because I'm trying to damage a scene, would I most of the time be rolling fight?
Because you're what you're looking for is damaging the scene by damaging, like you're looking to inflict wounds on them, but they're not statted as actual characters. Mm-hmm. So you're inflicting wounds on that. Now, if there's something else going on, like if what you were trying to do is say, like, if this were the other way and you were trying to hack their car or something like that, mm-hmm. then you would be using Forge to do wounds to hurt something, because that's Forge's is that domain.
Well, could I, for instance, use Interpose to have one of them hit the other?
No, but you can use Interpose to
Impose rather.
Interpose. No, not really to have one of them hit the other. I mean, like that. Is that like you talking about something slapsticky or something where you're trying to like?
No, I'm thinking more Jackie Chan-y.
Oh, then that would that would still be fight.
Yeah,
that's because what's happening is that the end result is you're getting somebody to be hurt or to be closer to dead.
I see. That's where I was clarifying on the rules.
Yeah. Right, it's about intent, not just about like what you're doing, but what's gonna happen. If you want to make them back off, I could reasonably see how that version of impose would actually like once you're able to establish, I think at this point we can see that I'm such a badass that I can use impose, just get them to back off. Then I could totally see that as you're damaging the scene with impose. You're progressing the scene with impose.
Sure.
But that's you're gonna need to establish with the I guess you call it Jackie Chan-ness of yourself that you are that much of a badass.
Cool.
So with that, go ahead and do the fighty thing. Or rather, I guess it's their turn. What they're going to do is do the fighty thing. In fact, I guess to like maybe further push it, if it would actually end the conflict, then it's definitely on the table, right? But if it wouldn't end the conflict, you're like, no, there's like you need 3 more successes before we're done. You can't at this point impose them away. If that was sort of like that sort of construct, I think would work. But you can use it as a finishing move. With that, they want to do the thing where they are violent at you. That just seems really rude, though. I'll be honest.
I'm not thrilled by it.
So they're gonna go ahead and still gonna use the 4 dice because it's very easy for me to just reroll selected.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 successes, and what they're doing is that they're now they're cornering you, or trying to corner you as you're getting there, and then depending on whether they succeed or not is whether one of them tries to basically clock you with your own tank of nitrous. Tank of apyrionically fueled nitrous. Darkest nitrous.
All right. So because I'm not trying to damage them, am I rolling with move or
So if you want to just avoid damage, then you can
Okay.
try that. If what you want to do is say, and I want to fight back and damage them if I win, then that's
Yeah.
a counter move and that's fight.
All right. So I think I want to fight.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure at this point, if I keep on using finesse, it's going to be sad. So I want to mix it up, even though it kills my die pool. And what I'm going to try and do is counter by grabbing like a hammer and smacking the claw end into the nitrous so that it explodes in his hands. So just delete that one out. So I'll use my potency.
All right. I'm in it. Let's do this. Let's make this happen.
And I got one there, but I tell you, I think this is a great time for me to use some of my Numa.
Yes, you totally should be using some of that sweet, sweet Numa. All right, so the okay, so going to so yeah, so you want to go ahead and re-roll some of that garbage?
Yes, I do.
All right, so you have some Numa there. Totally had an InDesign thing. So cool. All right. So yeah. So real quick, given the stuff we talked about before about like you sort of car wizardy vibe being of the
Oil.
of oil. And I want to go ahead and reopen this here. So just my InDesign crashed real quick, so I did not be your elemental affinity. So okay, that's has to do with charisma and stuff like that. So that's not exactly combative, but you're being extreme right now. You are putting a clawed hammer into a tank of nitrous. So that is in fact very adrenaline in action. That you can so you can go ahead and spend 2 Numa to reroll one of those dice. 4 Numa to reroll 2.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and spend the 4 and hope for the best. And let's do these 2. Yes.
Okay, you've turned into a victory of your own. So sweet. All right. So you've won that fight action. And you didn't refute my statement that this was essentially darkest nitrous.
Of course not.
Which I will say that means that if they're about to get if they're about to become a victim of darkest nitrous, that is what we call a greater weapon. So go ahead and roll. So you get to roll damage dice. You get to roll 2 dice. You can go ahead and make them like a different color so you can kind of see.
Oh, I'm just gonna pull these 2 up higher.
Okay.
So,
yep, that works for me. Go ahead and roll those. Okay, so that means you've done 2 damage to them. 1 for the fact that it's a greater weapon, and 1 for the fact that it is, and then 1 for the 1 success you got there. And so like, and at this point, like it's the massive pressure from it causes a sort of it basically causes it to not just sort of like burst, but like there's definitely a very explosive moment. They spent a bunch on the special effects on the scene, but it doesn't actually trash the set. But yeah, so everyone's sort of like, you've done that. Everyone's knocked back. They're wounded. You're not because you won. Doesn't matter.
Like a dirt fudge, though.
Exactly. Like you could be slammed into a brick wall and still have taken no damage because that's not how this game works. It's about that. So you've done that. And because they only have 1 hit left effectively, and that is the 3rd action beat, You can now attempt to impose as your way of getting them to back off. Um, uh, but I'm also going to say that right now, you've got all this like tech crap, right? Because you're like, right. So you get like an alert that there's currently an intrusion taking place in your vehicle, like an electronic intrusion.
I think what I'd rather do is to dive in through the car window and seize control of my car if I can.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, let's do that. So someone who has been trying to hack your car while you were distracted. Because either they were gonna win, in which case they got your car, or they were gonna lose, in which case they were still gonna try to have your car. So, and given that your car is sweet tech from the future, I think everyone actually wants your car.
That's fair.
Right? Like that everyone wants your car to reverse engineer it or just to race it.
Tell you what, I'll go ahead and write that in my imperfections. It makes no difference, I hear.
Yes.
But it sounds like it belongs there.
Yes, fantastic. Yes, everybody wants your car. Because yeah, you know what? That totally works. All right. In that case, if you want to wrestle control of your car, hacking is the forge domain. What is your forge at?
It's not good. It's a 1.
Sweet. Now let us talk briefly about edges, because I only bring them up in like con games or whatever when it seems like it'll actually sort of work out. An edge lets you bend the rule in a particular bend the rules in various ways. Would you prefer that you use move instead of forge when dealing with your own car and hacking?
I would totally prefer to use move instead of forge.
Right.
With my own car.
Yes. So when it comes to your own car and the hacking thereof or doing any sort of forging things, it's so in tune to you that you use your ultimate domain to do stuff with it. That I'll say like that's for any forging. Like I have to fix my car, so it's move. Because it's my car. I have to give it a new paint job, so it's move. When it comes to dealing with your car in that particular like respect, including keeping it from being hacked by some sort of extremely elite techno wizard who may or may not be the 10-year younger version of your beloved. Hint, extremely the 10-year, yeah. Although we won't see that on screen right away. Or rather, we do actually. You don't see it, but we do totally have like that there.
The audience that it's torque.
Yeah, it's totally torque, but like it's clearly like the version in the future was aged up torque.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. So this actually might even seem weirdly familiar, but also amateur hour. That said, that means I'm still bringing 7 dice.
Fair enough. I am going to try to make a case for speed on this if I can.
Finesse plus finesse plus move. Yeah, no, I'll let you take finesse plus move.
All right.
You know what? Since you're playing in that realm right now, and the reason I'm throwing 7 dice is that you're dealing with this while your adversaries are basically getting a chance to regroup.
Yeah.
And also light your shop on fire.
Yeah, I need my car to run them over.
Yeah.
So.
No, totally legit. You need your car to run them over. They are currently lighting your shop on fire. And so what bad things happen to you? It depends on how well or not well I roll. So I'm going to go ahead.
All right. You do that thing.
All right. I'll go ahead and reroll those and add 3 more dice. Wow,
That's not a good start.
No, I have 4 of those successes that the kids rave about.
It's a handy amount of successes.
That is an amount of successes. Now, remember, I mean, you're like, you know, your future partner was a badass.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense. Also, your shop's being lit on fire.
I caught that.
Yeah. So did the shop. The shop definitely caught the fire.
All right, so I only got 2 out of that.
Awesome.
So it's not worth me re-rolling.
No, but here's where I'm going to give you. All right, so we're going to have to come to a bargain about this moment because I think the Darkest Cosmos is willing to give you a bargain. Hard cut back to Rich.
Okay.
So Rich, you're muted.
I am.
Now you're not. Oh, good. You're getting into character. I like it. So yeah. So have you made a decision? A decision that I'm going to be offering, very similar offering to Austin Omega soon.
I have. Miss Lust, I appreciate your offer, and while Tessa means a great deal to me, I will decline for now. Perhaps another time there will be something else I can offer you.
Are you certain you would deny me?
I am. We are both going to be here for a while. I'm sure another opportunity will present itself.
Presumption is a dangerous game. She puts the wine goblet down, totally untouched, and is now no longer there.
Dang.
So yeah, so you have so that's what it's like to, I guess, really lose heart against a like proto goddess type figure.
Yeah.
But you know what? I gave you an offer. It was not an easy offer, was it?
No.
You know what? Did you have to mull it over?
I did. There was much mulling.
You get grandeur for mulling it over.
Really? Okay. I'm going to take longer for every time you ask me something now.
Oh, no. Take exactly that amount of time. You did, you did the precise amount of time.
Oh, good. I'll keep that in mind, man.
Which is to say, long enough for us to have a scene somewhere. But the fact that you had to make that, the fact that Darkest Cosmos digs that you were in conflict because it knows that it knows 2 things you like.
It's got me.
It's got you. Exactly. It knows it's got you. And it likes to be flattered. All right. So with that then, so this has definitely interrupted your flow, sort of your moment. And with that, I want to see what I can do to sort of suggest that you, let's say, you're familiar enough with the rumors of like Scarsa Rosa's proprietor, that she has pretty vicious appetites and things like that. She may very well decide to take Tessa for herself and just say, well, you did pass it up, so guess she's mine. I'm going to have a snack now.
That's true.
So, would you like to be a creepy vampire stalker and save that person?
I think I can get what I want from her without her taking my art. And that is what I'll do. Yeah, I will make my way down to Scarsa Rosa and stalk it. Like a gargoyle on the top of a building across the street.
All right, sweet. All right, so that's pretty a soft cut because we're gonna go there. We're gonna go wrap up this scene with Austin Omega. And then I think because obviously we're gonna be remerging these to happen at Scarsa Rosa.
Yes, that sounds all brilliant.
So yeah, so Omega. I'm gonna make you an offer. but you're a car wizard, so you don't have a chance to mull it over. This is about just an impulse decision.
I wasn't going to ask for it.
Sweet, awesome, because I wasn't going to give it to you. Sweet. So, which are you keeping? Half of your car or the shop?
So that would be a none of my car if I don't choose the car.
Well, certainly didn't say. It certainly didn't say that.
So I am a car wizard who, at this point, has not driven his car.
That is correct.
At all.
Yeah.
I am going to choose the car.
Sweet. All right. So the shop is being lit on fire. Don't worry. I'm sure in another episode we'll totally see you rebuilding it in a montage. But you have made the decision to let your throne of comfort be torched to protect your most crucial thing. Like, I dig it. The Darkest Cosmos digs it. May give you grant for how it happens, though. So you have this car. You're in a moment now where you're and that is gonna be represented because of this by you taking 2 wounds.
Okay.
So you can take them on your throne of comfort / deep yearning, which is actually kind of a place that makes sense because you won't have half of that for a while. Okay. But you could also take it to your core one. This is not quite being extreme, but you know it seems obvious.
I'm just gonna take it to the throne of comfort because that is what makes it.
Yeah, that's what makes a lot of sense too. That's what's being. So yeah, so this is happening. You have like. And the problem is, as you're hacking this, you get all the counter hacks. Like, you have control of the car, but you haven't kicked the entity out that's in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like kind of probably going to constantly be fighting like moments where like the steering wheel jerks and you've got to jerk it back, right? But you're a car wizard, so you know that just makes it more exciting. So, all right. So yeah, would you then like to use the car to hurt them? Because
yes, I would love to use the car to hurt them.
Okay, so they are still lighting the thing on fire. I believe that I poorly worded that edge that allows you to use move in lieu of other things when dealing with your car. That includes the fight one until it is errated. It's just an easy way to like give you the extra die for this moment because it's kind of funny. But yeah, so yeah. Explain how you're going to use the car to commit vehicular snake slaughter.
So the car roars to life, and the room fills with the blue light that's along the side, which it's going to draw their attention. He peels out, setting up a shower of smoke. And actually a couple of sparks because it was still attached to the jack, and goes spinning and sideswipes the first of them hard into the fire he was lighting.
Okay.
And we'll give him a little bit of a RoboCop scream, ah! As he goes into it. My plan is to smack and run over as many of them as I can, and then like shoot out through a window with the shop burning behind me.
All right. So we've got, I think there's going to be so there's this moment again, sort of like trailing off, like your shop going up in flames in the distance, where like I guess like the sort of that moment of sorrow, because this is where you had to like remake your home here, and that's where some of your really cool stuff that reminds you of Torque is. But in that you've got the vehicle. You have enough control that like you're able to still drive it, but occasionally there's some rustling there. But you're also to very ham-handedly move the plot along. Um, you're also able to like track down the where the signal is coming from. And clearly it is coming from the nightclub Scars Sub Rosa, or at least where the warehouse that is currently being held in.
Yep.
Um, so yeah. Um, so that that is a you would probably have to go and actually deal with that to fully rid yourself of this techno hacker.
I will drive the car directly into Sub Rosa in order to deal with this hacker.
All right, sweet. Now, so let's go ahead and let's take a moment. Let's take like a 5 minute break or so. We're going to come back and we're going to have the moment happen. Essentially, we're going to go ahead and have the climax of this two-parter happen in Scars of Rosa, and perhaps there'll be some fallout and stuff like that. But we've, I think, built up to the moment. And
Nice.
without our immortal around to like kind of fill in other stuff to make it, sort of a more thing, I think we can probably just get straight forward to the crazy times of craziness.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, all right.
See you in a few.
Yep.
Nope. Hi there.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good.
All right then.
How are you?
It's hate it when people try to take my signature piece of equipment and not having even got a chance to use it. Rah.
Wow. I think these 2 sessions have been all about trying to get you in your car so you can do your thing.
Yeah, no, I'm down for that. I played. I've only played Cartel, I think, once, and I played the cook, and I botched the roll right at the beginning, and I had like my lab was built into a mobile home, so someone stole my mobile home, and like, so the first thing that happened when I played Cartel was my signature asset got stolen. It was an appropriately grim and gritty episode, but it's also like a thing where I was like, come on. So it was fun, but also frustratingly fun.
So, speaking of cars and frustrating fun, I guess that's a segue. All right, so Adrian Darkholm, what does stalking Scars Cerberosa look like when you think you're going to be able to successfully stalk it before something makes it a much louder appearance than you?
I think first we see the time-lapse shot of Adrian Darkholm up on the corner of a building as if we're some kind of gargoyle. We even have a little sound mix or something like clever, and we mix in a little bit of the gargoyles theme song, but it's underneath like a techno beat. And he thinks he sees Tessa through one of the darkened windows. And so he does that spooky thing where he just steps off and drops 3 stories to the ground and lands on the sidewalk. Doesn't even leave a crack because he's a vampire. He doesn't actually weigh that much. And he'll start to walk purposefully, jaywalking across the street. But it's dark at night. There's a line of people who are waiting to a queue, trying to come into Scars Cerberosa. Most of them not allowed past the velvet rope. They notice this, but none of them will call Darkholm out because he's just so cool. Who would call him out for jaywalking? But that's the kind of darkness that he has inside him.
He has the darkness of someone who jaywalks.
Well, among other things, but yes, that too.
All right. So, speaking of a traffic misdemeanor, that's so Austin Omega. How was your entrance the opposite of that?
Yeah, velvet ropes are for chumps.
All right.
I think it's literally like I said, he's gonna crash in through probably some windows into the club.
So we're gonna roll for this to see essentially see how well you're positioned after you've crashed in, because you're gonna crash in. You're gonna crash in. Let's see how well you're gonna be able to keep using your car to do things. Because I mean, you're also talking about a thing that is, hey, spoiler, mystically protected. But you know, you've got a really cool car from the future. So, explain to me. So you've got this car. What's some crazy batshit future thing it has that would help you right now that we will declare as an edge?
I think there's a kind of electric wedge that it can bring up, which is you get it going fast enough, and the blue sparks start to fly around it, and it spits out blue flame. But then also there's a kind of 90s electrical field that starts to appear over the front in this kind of powered wedge.
You have a ramp made of electricity if it's going fast enough.
Yep.
All right. Sure. We'll call electro ramp an edge. That sure. if you're going fast enough, you get an advantage die for it. So you get an extra die if the electro ramp actually helps you or is actually relevant. If you're going sufficiently fast enough, of course, which I assume you usually are.
That's the plan.
Sweet. Cool. So yeah. So then in that case, you're essentially gonna so the Darkest Cosmos wants to see you work for this. So it is going to go ahead and roll. Yeah, it's gonna roll. Oh, no, don't clear. Just delete selected. It's gonna go ahead and roll 5 dice for this moment. And you get this is definitely a move. Crashing into the building is not finesseful.
No, that's pretty clearly potence, I think.
It could be. You could also, I could also see an argument for tenacity, or I can see an argument for, this is actually really bad shit, and I'm crashing into like a goddess sanctum, so sure, Aperion, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely not finesse. It is definitely not finesse.
It is not finesse.
All right. Wow, that's a really bad roll this time. Fantastic. It's just 1 success. So go ahead and assemble your dice. Are you using potency?
Yeah. This feels like potency to me.
You're punching a building with your car.
Yeah. I am punching a building with my car.
Punching a magical building with your future car.
Yeah. And I think in order to justify getting the extra advantage die, I pretty much have to use the move. But I am half tempted to call it impose because that's funny to me too. But it's the same amount of dice. So that'll be 6 dice.
All right. Yeah, that's right, because you're using.
Yeah. Because I don't get to use finesse.
Yep.
Oh, I only got 1 out of that though.
All right. So, you've only got
But you also only have 1, so I still win.
Right? So that is a weak hit.
Yeah.
So I am having to tweet your action right now.
No problem.
All right, there we go. So yeah, okay. So you're obviously gonna crash in. Think you crash in, but unless you're going to do anything like try to reroll die or anything like that, that's also when your car's hacker is probably taking control.
Well,
but you will be inside the thing,
I'm kind of okay with that because I'm trying to get to the physical location of the hacker.
Okay. Sweet.
I think I can deal with it.
Sweet. All right. So yeah, then you crash in, and let me tell you about Scars of Rosa. Like if you can imagine a goth industrial club, and back in January, I was in one that really did seem like it was I was literally me, Ryan, in a nightclub watching a guy with demon horns on DJing, and I'm like, I'm in my game. I'm immortal in my game. I am food in this place. I am pretty sure that person's a vampire, and that was one of the Fae touched, and you're burly enough to be a car wizard, and I am somebody's meal. This is awesome. Let me get another drink. Since then, there's always someone with demon horns DJing. If it was not Adrian Darkholm, it would be someone with demon horns, and it's someone with demon horns. And you crash in, and there's like just a bunch of people like on the dance floor, and a bunch of people being like aloof, in like side booths and things like that. And suddenly, car. And it's like that scene in the beginning of Blade where the blood is dripping down, except instead it's glass and car. And fewer people are excited about it. So yes, you land. I think everyone like scatters. No, there's no like actual fatalities from this. Um, and you're here. You've definitely you've definitely sort of presented a moment of challenge to the proprietor Lilith Lust, who like from her like VIP room, gives like an eyebrow, which is like her version of like a scowl, which is like, really, did someone just do that to my place? That is a war. Who would like a war? So that happened. And also, I mentioned that your car's been hijacked, right?
Yeah.
Your doors have locked.
Okay.
I realize that this may not be a problem for you, but also the rest of your car is now electrified because you have that electric thing. So yes, currently you're being trapped in your car while various supernatural entities are coming to deal with the person who just literally crashed the party. For literally crashing the party, have a grandeur.
Okay.
All right. So, hey, Adrian Darkholm.
Hey.
You just, I think you might have just crossed the velvet rope at this moment.
I think so. I think I jumped over the velvet rope. I know that car.
Okay. All right.
I have to help my descendant.
Sure. I just love the question mark you have on descendant. So yeah,
I don't want to go through the rigmarole of greats to get to the grandson.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Or grandnephew. We don't descendant.
Yeah, descendant. So yeah, go ahead and yeah, so I think you're just there. There's no like challenge. Right? The Darkest Cosmos is not attempting to put forward a challenge into you getting there. So you're there. Now you mentioned seeing Tessa. Or you thought you saw Tessa.
I thought I saw Tessa.
Yeah, you were super right.
Nice.
Yeah. How's it feel to be right?
Feels good.
Yeah, cool. But she was in a place where she's gonna be a meal. So how's it feel to be right now? That's good.
Worrisome.
Yeah, good. You're catching on.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not good.
The two most important people in the world to me
are right, and also you've got this person whose ire you've just earned because she was like, I'm gonna give you an offer that you can't refuse, but also you'll super hate it. And you were like, I didn't actually want any of this. Like, too bad. That's how life works. That's how unlife works.
Shut up, Miss Plus, you suck.
Yeah. So that's
lost. Sorry.
So that's there. That's only if you're nasty. So and then yeah, there are like and also here because why not? So yeah, so with Tessa is John Knight.
Of course.
In full wear snake mode.
Do you have like the Cobra hood?
You know what? John Knight does now. The rest of them, no. But John Knight has, but it's like with frosted blonde tips. I don't know what that looks like.
It's so wrong.
Someone could do fan art. I don't care. So yeah, frosted blonde tips on the Cobra hood. So, yeah. And so the two of you, one of you is trapped in an electrified car, and the other one is near said electrified car. You both have various objectives, and you just crashed the party. So, what is it that you want out of this moment that you hope you'll get and not die?
I need to find out what has happened to Omega.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't crash. I've never seen him crash. Something's happened to him. And of course, in my heart of hearts, I would love to grab Tessa and escape. So that's my twofer that I'm after.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I got no problem with you getting up to Omega and the electrified car. So Omega, what's up? How you living?
Well, apparently I'm currently locked in the car.
You're currently locked. I mean, you're a badass. You can probably
Yeah.
do things.
Oh yeah, I mean, actually, I get to use move instead of forge when I'm in my car, so
Yeah.
I can force the locks with that, and that's more or less my intention.
All right.
But yeah, if you want to know my goal, I got to find this hacker messing with my sweet ride.
So okay, cool. So the whole thing is no problem with actually like being able to like you're going to be able to bust out either way. This is about whether or not you take a wound doing it.
Okay.
Because you're being hurt by your own future fueled car.
How ironic.
Yeah, right. And it's slash the future partner.
Yeah.
Right. It's a very this entire moment of damage has a Facebook status of it's complicated. So go ahead and then assemble the dice that are about you getting out of the situation. And I will throw 4 dice at wounding you.
All right. Well, like I said, because this is the last time I'm probably going to be in my car for this adventure. I really want to make use of that edge and call move on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what he's actually trying to do is like he pulls a Slim Jim and actually tries to jimmy the lock from the inside.
Okay.
And so he's nope, screw it. That's not badass enough.
No, it's not.
Yeah, he's gonna roll back and just kick out the window.
So that will definitely allow you to soak with the with your extreme wound bin if you end up taking a hit. So yeah, go ahead and roll move plus
probably potency.
Potency. I can see that potency. I can see that tenacity. I don't know what
they're the same for me.
Okay, yeah.
It's potenacity.
Potenacity.
All right, cool beans. All right, so that'll be 5 dice. Let's pull this one out. And two. There's 7s and up, right?
Yep, 7's up. Cool. I also have a 2. So sweet. All right. You won't take a wound. But you are so you're not taking a wound. Say congrats. But you are basically taking a condition of darkest electrified. Let's call it that. Let's just say. Because the electricity is crackling. It's black, clearly.
Yep.
Black and like purple, right? It's from the future. And that's how electricity looks in the future. And so yeah, you're sort of electrified by there. If at some point you somehow use that to show how awesome you are in the future, I'm totally cool with that.
Yep.
If you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use to say, if you happen to use a pneuma to say, and I'm gonna punch someone with this electricity that's crackling in me, I won't say no to that. However, it's also going to be used against you because you are currently being surged with like with this power that's suddenly like in you.
Currently.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to give myself grandeur for that. The thing is, grandeur I decided to give myself counts toward the grandeur for unlocking shit.
Yep, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, so don't worry
that's your
about
second grandeur that you've.
That's my second grandeur. Yeah. So yeah, and incidentally now, we are at 9 grandeur, if my count is right.
I've got 5.
I've got 5. So I think we're at 12.
No, then we're at 12. Then I've not been keeping adequate enough track, or you guys are lying. And if you guys are lying, then you keep the grandeur you have. As you have earned that grandeur. So yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This scene is weird because you just decided to like, I've run the nightclub scene a bunch, but no one has ever crashed their car into it. Just having no real reason to be there except someone happens to also be there. So I'm digging this right now. Because like you have a mob of like were snakes and stuff who have allied with currently allied with Lilith Lust, um, who are currently useful to her in that way right now, who are all like, this is some bullshit. I was here to get my like dance and freak on, and instead I'm gonna have to like kill the car wizard and the vampire, I guess.
I think it would be great if
Mhm.
like he kicks out the music is temporarily stopped.
Oh yeah, the music is definitely stopped in this moment.
Yeah, so he's gonna come out and be like, y'all thought to have a party and didn't invite me. And then when the fight scene starts, the music starts back up.
All right. So yeah. So I think with that moment, how does what does Darkholm's entrance into this moment look like?
Oh yeah. So Darkholm, of course, has leapt over the velvet rope. He has slipped past with supernatural speed to make his way to the car. He sees that Omega. You like burst out, right, with crazy lightning powers. Like you're all got the quickening or something. I've seen this before from Cortez and perhaps other shows that I've been on. And then I see John Knight and I see Ms. Lust, and the two of them are in cahoots, obviously. And then you deliver your line about having a party and not inviting you. That's amazing. So I don't want to show that up, but I point two fingers, not a one finger, 2-finger point. Tess and Omega are coming with me.
Ooh. All right. Are you pointing to John Knight, or are you pointing to?
That's why I'm doing the 2-finger. It's like somewhere between John Knight and Miss Lust.
Okay.
It's like it's just a thing. I'm just commanding, and if Miss Lust steps out of the way, then it goes to John Knight. But if she's actually his patron, then I'm commanding her to let us get out of here. Or there will be problems.
All right. So she turns to John Knight and says, "Clean your mess up." And John Knight leaps down while Luthless takes Tessa away.
Oh man, so we got a sub boss and then the level boss. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
got it. I'm good with
yeah. That's sure. Let's call it that. Let's say, yep. So you've got the lieutenant now. So yeah. So John Knight like jumps down. Blonde tip cobra head. I still not sure how it looks, but I dig it. I just dig the description. Yeah, so frosted tip cobra head and all. And says, and sort of in that moment, so were beasts, their ultimate domain is impose. Because they're basically like, grandiose beings of nature. That even to like humans, even like a were sparrow or whatever, has this sort of like inherently imposing nature to the human world. Enough that yes, even a were sparrow is imposing as fuck. Don't ask. The Darkest Cosmos does not care. That's just how it rolls. But certainly a were snake, a lot of imposition. Big on fighting. Also great at like really creepy snake sorcery. Who would have known? So the with that, just sort of creates to kind of mirror a little bit of like what's going on, because we're really throwing the FX budget in here. Gets like a snake sort of like slithers out from a tattoo, like sort of scaly tattoo, and then turns into like a staff around his hand, because that looks imposing as fuck. So of course that's why he's doing it. And so he's going to try to use that to set the tone, to unsettle you, to basically create an advantage where, like, socially speaking, he is totally like, doming you in this moment. So would you like to counter by showing your sweet thing off that says, no, you are the awesome person here?
And so this is Darkholm versus John Knight now?
This is
No.
Darkholm versus John
Okay,
Knight.
just making sure I don't want to step on Omega's
Oh,
toes.
no. Oh, some shit's going to happen with Omega. Omega's the one that is taking probably the mob.
Nice.
Yeah, because there's a mob going on that's there to because the hackers may be paying them. I don't know. We'll find out.
I did just throw down with them. So
you did. Honestly, you did just say you did just throw down with them. Regardless, they are all. You're taking on a mob. Darkholm is taking on John Knight. There may be hacking involved. We'll see if Tess and Lilith get away. Lots of things are going to go down. Let's roll this shit. So what are you doing, Darkholm, that looks imposing? And would you like to say that you have as an edge some vampiric sorcery?
I have never defined my edge because I was just waiting for the moment to say that it is vampiric sorcery. So
exactly.
Thank you for helping me to reveal it.
Sweet. So this is where we really get to talk about how. So basically, gives you permission to make up some like vampire shit.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you use it, it's gonna cost you a pneuma to sort of establish the thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And like subsequent uses may not cost you pneuma. Sort of there, like that's kind of like wishy-washy. And you are going to be rolling the Aperian domain because you're channeling the darkest cosmos itself.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not good at all. But yet, it's what allows you to do sorcery. And once you made the sorcery thing, you'd be like, yeah, now I've turned into mist, so now I'm using finesse to do shit. Right? Once you've established it, cool. But to create the sorcerer's effect itself is going to be Aperian. Have you used all of your stats? Like, do you want to say, no, actually, it turns out I have a 2 in Aperian and a 1 in something else?
I have never used my tenacity.
Are you not? Are you perhaps not as tenacious as you are dark?
Perhaps that is. Just a second. That is exactly what is the case.
Yes.
I just need to quickly hit backspace and type in a different number.
Fantastic.
Good. So I feel less terrified of trying to do this amazing thing. So what happens? We have a fan just off camera blowing the cloak that Darkholm is now wearing.
Okay. Okay.
A little bit of his hair. He's got his hair in the ponytail, the Adrian Paul ponytail.
Right.
So he reaches up and he pulls out that so the hair kind of hangs down now, blows a bit in the wind, and he reaches up and he summons. He's a vampiric sorcerer, right? So he's summoning hordes of rats.
Okay. Are they and feel free to no. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on the suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah, not long.
Yeah, but
all right. So cool. Exactly. So yeah, go ahead. In that case, that so you are creating things out of nothing, sort of right now, or are you summoning?
I think I'm creating. So let's go with summoning. Cool. I think that feels a little vampiric-ish.
Then I'm going to say that's the influence domain because you're influencing nature.
Well, I love that. I will be influencing nature more.
Yeah, cool. Otherwise, it'd be the forge domain because you're creating something.
Oh, I have answered those questions correctly. Good.
I thought you would see it my way.
So yeah. I spend a pneuma in order to do this.
To do this, and then what's going to happen is that the darkest cosmos is going to push back because it wants you. But if you fail the roll, you don't spend pneuma. If you ever use pneuma and don't actually get what you would like, don't succeed, you don't spend the pneuma.
All right, here we go. I'm rolling 5. Oh, sorry.
Which is also useful. Like if you re-roll dice and it turns out it still is garbage. It doesn't actually change your result at all. Then you don't actually spend that pneuma. So it's a precious resource, but it's not a resource that you get dinged for if you don't get it. So you've got 5 dice.
Here it comes.
Cool.
Oh, that's pretty good. I got 3 successes out of those 5 dice. If only 10's exploded, which seems like should be a thing.
Well, that's an edge that can be taken.
How do I take that edge?
I just gave you an edge.
Oh, the vampiric sorcery. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
I mean, yes, characters get 2 edges because they're to start with because they're double edged, but slow your roll.
Okay, I'll slow my roll. I'm just excited to see 2 10s after the crap roll from earlier.
Yeah, no, legit. I mean, you got a not crap roll. I got a success. You've got some legit stuff there. So yeah, the Darkest Cosmos bows to your will. Right? Like, bam, you've got rats. They're an advantage die, and also things that you can control. And you've just rats are happening. And with that, I think that the that roll that I have there is essentially like gonna double as the because either way you're gonna summon rats. This is also as much about the fact that John Knight does not have enough game right now. Like, he's like, I'm turning a snake from my tattoo into a staff that can bite you. Staff whip thing. I don't know. You're like, got rats. Got like, that's one snake staff. Behold my many rats, and they're mobile. Right? So yeah, no, okay. People are freaking out.
Good.
You were essentially they're like later, like the darkest gauntlet cities, like secret pest control is gonna have to deal with this place. This is a huge code violation that you've just committed. I just want you to appreciate that. And so yeah, so that just a bunch of rats just appeared. And somehow, possibly also, Austin Omega, you can use this as well. This is a persistent advantage in the scene.
Nice.
So yeah, cool. So a bunch of and so I'm gonna go ahead and they're gonna have their own so it's not really a scene. This is a full on like fight moment. The gang has 5 boxes, and on Night has 6, and it's perhaps dangerous. That wicked staff that John Knight has is probably a greater weapon of some sort because it's vicious. But I think your rats probably are too. Things are complicated in this moment. It's a very pest oriented scene.
One might even say it's a ratastrophe.
I'm going to dock one of your grandeur.
But we're still at 11, so it's okay.
But for Jason's laugh at that, Jason gets the grandeur.
Oh, Jason's laugh is so full of grandeur. I own that. That is good.
So, yeah. So with that, so I think that this moment happens, and people are freaking out. They're running. This is suddenly not as cool of a scene as it was a moment ago. Lots of vampires are now leaving because the prey is all like freaking out, and that's kind of just kills the vibe. There's like a group of car wizards that just rolls their eyes and it's like, all right, let's just go somewhere else. Like they're just like they're sort of like looking at you like, really? This is a no crash zone, dude.
That's only for people from this time.
And like no one gets what that means. So like
they'll get it in 10 years.
They'll get it in 10 years. That's some Marty McFly stuff. Yeah, your children will get it. So yeah. So let's but yeah, but the muscle is trying to take out the trash. You are the trash. They would like to fight you. So what they are going to do is, at least one of them, of which they're an indeterminate number, is going to pick up a table and try to make kissy face with you with it.
All right.
I presume that you want to not want to make a kissy table face time.
I would like to not to. Like I said, I was dreaming of if only the audience can hear the music, then by God, that's the case.
No, I think at this point, like At this moment, the DJ is so enamored with Darkholm that like just inspired is playing some Darkholm, is inspired with that audible alchemy that is infused with Darkholm, and is riffing off something right now.
He's one of Adrian's Darkholmies.
I'm docking the Granger. But to restore the balance, I'm giving it to me. So, with that said,
yeah. So Austin Omega is doing a kind of mix of capoeira and judo, which is mostly about flowing and not being there. So as the table is going over, he's like dropping way back low into a limbo thing, and then trying to come around into sweeps and fighting multiple people while being fluid and such.
All right, that sounds like finesse and fight.
Yep.
Are you using the rats at all? Do they help? Or not yet? Not yet is an acceptable answer.
Yeah, I've also got Electro Punch. I think it's gonna be not yet. I have a thing in mind for the rats, but I think we gotta not yet.
Totally cool. All right, so yeah, go ahead and roll. Oh, and not to keep track of how many action beats happen, because let's see how long it takes. Action beats. All right. So this being sort of the second action beat, because the first action beat was rats being summoned. So yeah, go ahead and roll for your fight move, and they're going to roll for their fight move, and I think that there are 5 of them. So I'm going to, or at least there are 5 dice of them.
Okay.
So
I have gotten 3.
All right. I have 2. So okay, so cool. You have a success, which means that your fight's gonna win. It's a hit. It's not a tie.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do damage. If you would like to turn your body into a greater weapon itself for the remainder of this scene, you can spend 1 pneuma to say, well, this electro punch stuff, I guess, is actually infused in my body.
Sure. I will do that thing.
All right.
And then we'll have it end on like an electro uppercut.
Yep. And so if you're able to use it, it's basically not the scene. It's like this action moment. Like the moment that we change action, like if you beat these guys and then you get into another fight, that's the end of that action break. But while you're fighting these guys, the juice is charged in you. I mean to say, if you decide to fight the hacker later, because it turns out I was lying the entire time and it's actually a weresnake hacker, then that you'd have to pay a pneuma again. I'm not lying. So yeah, so you go ahead and so that's the greater weapon. So you get 1 plus. Go ahead and roll 2 dice for damage.
Right. I'll just pull these guys down here. 10 and a 2.
All right, so it's 2 damage done against the gang. So so go ahead and tell me what it looks like when you lay one of them out and basically knock them unconscious. If this is a really gritty television show, dead, exploded, I don't know. You get to right now set the tone of where this television show airs.
Well, I think I'm gonna set it not on dead. But okay. So what happens is near the end of the combo, the guy's bringing the table directly down on him when Omega is down kind of low, and he brings his fist up at the same time, and then there's the slow-mo as it goes electric. The table explodes into splinters, and his fist hits into the Snake Man's face, and the Snake Man just flies backwards. And then Omega brings his hand down in front of him, crackling with energy, and he's like, "Awesome."
All right, well, take a grandeur for that. Also, I'm going to add a little bit of flavor to the end, where when the weresnake lands, the weresnake is actually human again, and you see a strange spirit leave its mouth. And you see John Knight look incensed that you have just ruined one of his treasures, his prizes, his puppets.
Vessels.
Yeah. Holy crap! Wow. So it turns out that he's like stealing people, turning them into like weird spirit were-snake things.
That's probably what he wanted for Tessa.
Yeah, I mean, what Hannibal wants a lot of people, but yeah, Tessa's probably if Tessa hasn't already had that happen. So,
Oh no!
did you just now figure that out? The audience figured.
I didn't even figure it out. You told me.
No, I know the audience was worried about this for a while. You should have seen the fan Tumblr.
If only I had those links.
Yeah. All right. So, it's actually darkhomies.tumblr.com. That's probably going to be taken now. So yeah, when you you're there, John Knight is there. This is where John Knight like is just like enraged, and like the whole like hood sort of like like flares up, and he brings his staff down to bite you, to bite a vampire, as it were. He wants to bring the staff down to drain some of your essence, also to hurt you. Would you like these things to happen?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, so you don't always have to brood and mull over decisions.
Oh, we're near the end. I just want to get one last brood.
That's fair. No, don't worry. You'll have plenty of brooding in the last scene when you don't actually get what you want. I promise.
Okay, good.
So yeah. So how do you not have that happen? And to remember, this is now like I think the first time you have been in a fight situation.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you're doing something to try to push the other person, you can always counter. You can use as a vampire, sort of more or less. You can go ahead and try to like use like influence or something like that to push when it's your move, when you're not responding to the person. You can try to use something else to maybe wound them in a way. Like vampires screwing with people with influence is sort of very classic.
Right, but I've been using a lot of influence.
Right. But certainly right now, though, because it's John Knight's action, it's basically using fight against you.
Okay.
Like, as a GM, I just roll whatever I roll, but effectively I say like in your response, it's a fight thing, so you respond with fight. Or you respond by avoiding the thing. Depends on if you want to also wound him back in the same venue or not.
What I want to do is snag that previously mentioned could be very powerful staff away from him.
Oh, okay. So you want to in that case, it's still going to go ahead and be fight, but instead of you doing wounds, you'll basically have that status happen.
Okay. Can I use my speed in order to say is finesse instead of potency?
Why are you asking me such a pedestrian
I'm going to
question?
use my speed.
Yes, that's exactly. You get grandeur for owning the moment.
Okay, I'll quickly mark that down before you take it away.
We can mark it down. I'll take it away later. I promise.
That's true. That's true. All right, cool.
Mark it down so I can't take it away. So yeah.
So I have a pitiful 3 dice. I can spend Numa to increase my dice. Yes.
So yeah. So you can also somehow use the rats. If you can explain how the rats work, that's a die.
Oh well, the rats, of course, are streaming at his legs. So as he comes moving forward, he's got to step around through, move them, be concerned about them. They would, of course, bite him. There's the ancient rat versus snake struggle that all snake men are aware of.
Right. No, that's fair. That's just science. That's just darkest science. So yeah. Cool. So that's a die.
Right, cool.
If you would like to, so the main deal is that if you're dealing with this in if you're channeling Numa to do things, and it's not sort of within like what your splat is meant to do, then it costs more. But we can say that. See, let me think here. You have vampiric sorcery. I'm going to go ahead and say that yes. If you want to just add dice, go ahead. You can add like 2 dice by dropping 1 pneuma on each.
Nice.
Let's say that.
Okay,
I think my numbers are actually like off from what I wrote in the draft, but I want to look it up right now because it's in a Word file.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't care. I didn't make a convenient handout in time for this, so it's whatever I say it is right now and not whatever I wrote.
So my base dice of essence plus domain is 3, plus 1 from the rats. Spending a pneuma to get 2 more takes me to a 6. 3, 4, 1, 6. Yes, looks like 6.
Yep, looks like, yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm going to roll 6 fresh dice. Here comes the roll. That is terrible and awful. And 2 successes, but 2 ones.
Okay, well, luckily ones don't do anything special either in this game.
Yay.
I mean, there's optional rules that I don't know, ones literally make you the player explode.
I will not be purchasing those rules.
Fair enough. So cool. Let me go ahead and re-roll these 5 dice.
I really like playing with Rich, and I'd rather the dark occult nature of Katanas and Trenchcoats does not kill my friend.
Well, I mean, then he just roll better. It's okay, cool. So you have 2 successes. Is that what I catch right here?
Yes.
So I also have 2 successes. Now you're right now. What happens then in a fight versus fight moment, as you both get a little bit of what you want. So without rolling any more dice, he'd inflict a wound on you, and you would be locked in a struggle where, like, you have the staff and it's bit you, but you also have it, and he has it. You've got that sort of struggle going on there. So that's where it stands right now. You can re-roll dice if you want to, but I think that looks actually like an awesome moment.
I super love that moment. Yeah. I'm all
right. So it's biting you. So you're going to take a wound. You can take this wound in your core, or you can take it in, because you're pursuing Tessa, you can take it in your throne of comfort or deep yearning.
I'll do the deep yearning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. So that you take 1 wound there. And you can actually feel it fighting to sap essence out of you right now. Like, it's not, but it's like you can feel it trying to draw, instead of injecting venom into you, it's trying to draw your own vampiric venom out of you.
Ooh, I may have to feed later. That sucks.
Yeah, probably actually, but I might just give you some pneuma back if you randomly feed in front of. If you had to happen to rescue Tessa and she snapped out of it, but you had to also eat a mortal to do it, I'd totally give you refresh and pneuma to horrify her by feeding in front of her. I might, just saying, that's in the rules that I can offer these things.
I'm glad it's in the rules. I'll make a specific note of that.
Yeah, that I can offer you dark bargains. But right now, so you've gone ahead. You're in this moment. You're in this struggle, and now it's your action. That is another action beat.
Ooh, another action beat. I'll yank this staff away from him. And where is Omega, by the way? I would have that sense of where my...
Oh, he's in the scene. Like, he's very obviously fighting a bunch of people not far from you, but far enough that this is 2 different camera shots.
Nice.
You could leap to him if you wanted to.
Cool. So I want to snag the staff away and toss it to Omega. That's my intent.
Okay, cool. So that sort of strength, that sort of moment there, that's going to be impose.
Impose?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Because you're not terrible at this.
You're not, because you're not fighting him to wound him. And you're not responding to a fight thing. You're initiating the thing.
I have
So if you,
almost no chance of being successful at this. I should come up with a different way to do this. Um, hmm, hmm. So, is there any way that I could? No, that's right. I have to remember it's Katanas and Trenchcoats.
right.
So I'm going to I'm going to act as if I'm going to pull very, very hard, but in reality, I'm hoping to make him overcommit and then twist it around and out of his hands. Clever sleight of hand to disarm him. So rather than wrenching it from him, I just try to steal it from him.
So you want to use the heist domain?
I do, because I have a 3 in that.
Yeah. Okay. And you also have cunning. It sounds like
I do. Yes.
Yeah. So it sounds like cunning and heist. Are the rats in play at all?
Of course they're in play.
That's another die. I mean, they're doing the same thing, right? Like biting at him and like.
They climbed up his legs, right? Man. They're biting and trying to find one of them to rip the little hole, like they're trying to worm their way into his guts. It's really super gross.
Why even? Why even? They got to do that, man. That's just invasive. You should roll some dice now.
Okay, cool. All right, so that is 7d10.
And congrats on figuring out how to use heist.
Thank you. I was like, I'm going to take heist. I don't know why. I got a pitiful 3 successes. Yeah, but I'll take it, I guess.
I got 2 successes only.
I'm happy to hear that.
So you wrench it away. It's even like wrenched out of your arm and stuff like that. And it kind of hurts. Okay. I was gonna say, like, if you had just tied, I'm like, yeah, you do, but you take a wound because it's still in you. Yeah. All right. So cool. All right. So I think that then we're gonna use that as a transition scene to then like get to like the staff. So Austin Omega. So do you say anything, or do you just rely on the fact that clearly he's your descendant, so he'll understand what's going on?
Austin.
Okay, you're saying, okay, cool. So yeah, so Austin Omega, we go to you. What does the moment look like for you? Also, a snake staff is going to put your head.
Oh, I'm pretty sure this is where the thing you've been waiting for comes in, because this is a kickflip. It does the kickflip and catches the staff in air, and then does the superhero landing and smacks it to the ground to send out a pulse of awesome.
Okay. That's a Pyrian to channel a bunch of weird ass shit.
Sure, why not? I suck at it, but
yeah, but that's what it's gonna. But if you want to do it, that's what it's gonna take.
I'm gonna do it.
Because normally card wizards don't channel snake magic. Well, there's a lot. It's the Darkest Cosmos is down for it, but yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? Now, okay, so let me think about this here. In doing this, I am pretty sure that I could call for either impose or move in order to grab this freaking staff.
Well, what do you want to do? It's like if your effect is to cow them,
yeah,
that's impose. You happen to be moving in order to do something.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I have the same dice on both of them, so I'm gonna use impose. Because I've been trying to use impose since like day one.
No, and this is one of those things where doing it in this manner is going to be is effectively going to push them back.
Yeah,
I'll even because of the nature of the scene, I'll cut this straight to wounds rather than being an advantage or whatever, because we're dealing with a sort of mob thing.
Okay. And on this one, I actually think the rats are coming into play on this, because it's like as the staff comes down, they're almost a kind of choreographed swirl of teeth and claws, pushing people back. So that will give me 5 dice, including the rats.
Go ahead and roll your dice, and I will roll mine.
All right. So that is 3.
I have 1.
Da-da-da-dum.
So yeah, so cool. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and it's not fight, so it's not necessarily like the full on damage or whatever, but the effect is to basically mark a It's a sort of both to like mark a tick in the gang is being defeated thing. But like so what does it look like then? And remember, we're blowing our budget on this scene.
Yeah.
What does it look like to go ahead and to see this action and how these were snake, who are really actually people, respond?
So I think what happens, I said wave of awesome. We'll say that when he grabs the staff, it also has the darkest electricity. And when he slams it down, there's like all these electric snakes. They're just made of electricity that shoot out in every direction and wrap around the snake bed. And like there's them like looking at it as the snakes are like reaching for their faces. And they're actually reaching for the spirits within. So yeah, that's the budget, is the electric snakes trying to eat the spirit snakes possessing them.
Totally think one does.
Yeah.
One totally does, and which makes the other like spirit snakes like are like, oh, this is some shit. Right? This is like, oh, this is not as easy as it was going to be. So clearly we must channel darkest power to raise our game.
Indeed.
Spoiler, they're gonna channel darkest power to raise their game. Cool. I think that was the 5th action beat, I believe. The 6th one is going to be them channeling the darkest power to raise their game. So cool. So yeah,
they're so amazing.
So yeah, seeing what they have to deal with, like they can't just like rush you or all these electric this is a bad moment. So this person who just got freed of influence, one of the were snakes eats them, like in front of you, to like draw their essence away.
There goes our PG rating.
Yeah. Don't worry, there's no blood or anything. This was not going to be This was not going to be PG. Like it's not necessarily HBO.
We ran the warnings after every commercial break as we came back in. We're good.
Yeah, no, we're good. No, we got this. But yeah, no, just eats a person in front of you, drains their life essence out, and then in this sort of like weird like fugue like moment, rushes at you. Like it's sort of like just, come at me, car wizard. And is going to like brave things trying to eat at it, but it just stole some life essence, so it's actually just chipping away at that sort of spiritual armor instead. And how well he does will determine whether or not other random people are eaten because his friends think that's a great idea.
Well, since as long as we're going this direction, I reverse the snake and allow him to impale himself on its tail.
All right. That's so I'm gonna reroll my 5 dice, and I have 3 successes this time.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm trying for finesse and fight here. If I have the option of having the rats help me out, I will.
Well, if you can keep it fresh, telling me how they're helping you.
Okay. So let me think about that for a second. I think that what I'm going to be trying to do is to catch him on the tail and impale him, and then throw him into a pit of rats that he can disappear beneath.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so I'm just going to delete these because it's easier than adding one, and then I'll reroll the whole lot of them. So that'll be 6. All right, I got 2. And I got those 2 Numa, so I could go for it, or I could just suck up the damage. That would be the end of my Numa.
So I can always so it could be the end of your Numa. There are ways of getting Numa back in the like middle of a session. One of them is about showing how a wound you've taken sort of like that's a recovery, but like as far as like getting Numa back, the one of the ways to do it is you ask me for a dark bargain, and I say, "Cool. If this happens in the story, I'll give you all your Numa back." And
Yeah.
you're like, "That's a really horrible thing." Okay.
I think in this particular case, I'll just deal with the tide turning against me a little bit, because the best I can do is high him.
No, and right now, like, you probably want to save that moment for something else, right?
Yeah.
So cool. All right. So in that case, I'm gonna go ahead and roll, because like they're infused with like fucked up power. So this is a greater weapon against you. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll 2 dice. No, not purple. They're gonna be green dice for the moment, and then add 1 to it. And so you take 2 damage.
All right.
And they can be, so you're acting extreme, so they can go there. You aren't dealing with your tone of comfort or deep yearning, so they can't go there, or they can go to your core.
Yeah. Would there be any reason I wouldn't put them in extreme?
Oh no, they're totally. You want to put those things instead of using up your core ones, because those,
right.
Yeah. But none of those are what we call extreme wounds, so we don't really have to deal with that.
All right.
Which are wounds where you put an X in the box instead of a slash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's extreme. I didn't make up that pun. Players of mine in last September made up that pun, and I'm kicking myself for having not figured it out like 2 years earlier. It's great. So cool. Yeah. So. Okay, so yeah, you know what? Tell me what it looks like when you are like savaged by this. Yeah.
I think that he impales himself. He just doesn't care. Like, he does that, and then like picks up Omega and just like bites hard into his neck, leaving like the big neat things.
Oh yeah.
So he cries out in manly 90s action hero pain before they toss him. For a moment, he is crumpled in the corner, and has to rise heroically. Be like, we're not done yet.
Nice. No, I dig that. You know what? Have grandeur for that.
Thanks.
So okay. So we're coming up on. So now we're about to. So that's happened. I think that means that we're going to come back up on John Knight and Adrian Darkholm. And it's spending a lot of time. Like at this point, it seems like it's like this might be enough time that Tessa may have been absconded with. So the question is, do you keep playing with John Knight, or do you try to get past him to race after Tessa, and thus abandoning Austin Omega to whatever fate, as Austin Omega has just been bitten by a weresnake infused with horrific power?
I gave him the staff. He's good. He understands.
All right, so you're gonna rush past John Knight then.
I rush past John Knight.
All right. This is gonna be then. Yeah, this is gonna be a moment where you're gonna have to. So this is move, my friend. This is the move domain.
Okay.
This is the domain of your descendant, and not you.
Mm-hmm. That's very much true. In fact, I built this character to be not Omega-ish.
Right, but you have vampiric sorcery. Perhaps you can turn into mist or some shit to get around.
I think that is exactly what I will do.
All right, so cool. Aperion plus move. Now you're gonna be like, I don't have a lot of dice in that, but don't worry, I got you.
All right.
Because I basically gave you a, hey, do you want to abandon your friend in the middle of a bunch of shit?
Mm-hmm.
The Darkest Cosmos thinks that you should get 3 extra dice.
Oh, okay, good. And I'm spending a Numa to
do that, yeah, to introduce that into the scene.
All right. With 3 extra dice, that puts me at 6 dice. I think I
Do the
have a
rats?
chance.
I'm sure that the rats help too.
The rats, of course, are very helpful because they're distracting him. They're now up on his face.
Exactly.
One of them biting it.
One of them is biting the frosted blonde tips, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Nestling into it.
That's why'd you have take grandeur for nestling? I'm uncomfortable. Great grandeur for making me uncomfortable.
Okay. I will do that thing.
All
Here
right.
we go. Oh man, 2 successes is all.
Well, let's see. All right, so I have 4 successes. So let me tell you about how you're going to succeed. Because I will offer you a dark compact for you to get the success you want.
Good.
Cool. So I think what happens is you can either not get by him and be trapped here, and definitely Tess is gone. If you fail this, Tess is gone. Okay. Like, we just understand the narrative. There's no like second attempt at this, right? Or you can John Knight will give you an extreme wound as you go past him, as he bites into your mist form.
That's crazy. I must be extremely wounded.
You must be extremely wounded. Yes. Yeah, you are. This is not so bad as to be an anguish, which is its own scale beyond extreme wound. But don't worry, we're not going to get into anguishes because we're like 10 minutes left. But yeah, okay, cool. So you can take an extreme wound. So you can turn. So you're going after Tess.
Mm-hmm.
So you have filled up all of your boxes right now on that one, though, right?
Well, it was 2, right?
And 2 out of the 2 boxes you have in that bin.
I actually thought I just took 1 wound in the last exchange when we.
Oh, did you? Okay. So the way extreme wounds work is that they just turn like a normal wound. You like, instead of a slash, you make an X, and they last a fucking long time.
Okay.
So you don't really take a second wound so much as this wound has become worse.
All right.
Wait, no, the math is wrong on that. Yeah, no, you totally take an extra wound. You take
good.
The second one. Yeah. So you're now out of wound boxes. Yeah.
Out of wound boxes in my current deep yearning. He bit me in my yearning.
Well, you're in the comfort of the same bin too. So if somehow you have to defend your clock tower later, you would not have that extra reserve.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The character sheet makes it easier because it's one section. Yeah.
Okay. He bites. There's a sound. It's voiceover, right? Because I'm a mist.
Right.
And then drift towards the wind picking up.
So there, and then yes, he bites, and you get like a look as you flee. There's a satisfied look from John Knight, like he's taken something that he wanted. And you flee, and you're just like, you're exiting the scene, and we're gonna have like the dramatic scene at the end. It's sort of the stinger. So cool. All right. So Austin Omega.
What up?
You may want to finish the rest of this gang off before John Knight, now free of fighting his nemesis, spawns more acolytes, or steals your car because he's also a snake car wizard. Who knows?
Well, I mean, logically, if Darkholm isn't here fighting John Knight anymore, then it makes sense that I'm going to have to get up there and do it.
Okay.
So that's my goal, is to use the various chains, ropes, or whatever else they happen to have in this crazy ass thing. It's a vampire bar, so it's full of draperies.
It is tapestrific.
Yeah. So as
For
he's turning
Rich's
to go
response,
after,
I will give myself grandeur.
as he's going to try and follow Darko, I'm going to get myself up there and be like, going somewhere. So,
Nice. So yeah, go ahead and roll, and we'll make this happen. So what are you composing in your die pool to roll? Incidentally, the rats are following. The rats are dispersing because Darkholm's influence is no longer here to keep them.
yeah. It is a combination of things. I'm going to call it imposed because the side effect of what I'm trying to do is to put John Knight also in between me and his mob. Because I have a rough idea of where people are, and that seems logical.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and put that together.
Yeah. Don't think rats really come into play on this.
Anyway. Oh, the rats are
yeah, I wouldn't have them anyway. Yeah. I rolled terrible. I got nothing. You go for it.
All right. Well, so if you get nothing, see, it'd be really great if I also get nothing.
That would be great. I would love it.
Because that means actually bad things happen. So here's what I'm gonna do, just for fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna only roll 3 dice.
All right.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Because really, I get to be like, oh man, a lot of. Okay, I got 2 successes. I'm sorry. Yeah. I tried to get nothing. I really did. All right, so tell me what you were trying to do. Like sort of like show me what that looks like in the moment.
Well, like I said, he was trying to get himself up in front of Knight and separate him off from Darkholm, but also kind of draw the focus on those two.
All right. So where are you in relation to your car when you do this?
Well, the car is kind of in the center of the dance floor.
Right.
Since I'm using the drapes, I'm probably moving along the walls and such.
Okay. All right. So I think in this, like, John Knight getting like full on like snake form is just slithering around your attempts.
Okay.
Right. He's going up to like and he's going to your car. So it's very much like slithering around and is absolutely in no way imposed by you. Like preternaturally so. And since we're like it's like 10:55, so I'm gonna want to like bring this moment to the close, because it turns out that I set very high meters as far as how much damage had to be done, and then we got really funky with cool stuff. So what happens is that so John Knight, now he's not dealing with trying to like take a vampire's essence. Is now trying to take your car's essence. Really big into essences. That's his job, right? And so as sort of like the slam there is when this like punk hacker, as he's like trying to like wrestle with the electricity, this like punk hacker comes in and says, "You get your hands off my car." And she like hits a button and zaps him, and he goes flying back. And she gives you like a hard look too, of like, why you can't steal my car. So yeah, so like that's there. So congrats, we've just had our like Sarah Connor weird Kyle Reese moment just happen. So that's sort of there, and like between the fact that like John Knight is being cowed in this moment, and you have beaten the hell out of the weresnakes, that even the one that fed off of you, it's like, oh, and he's not really phased. That was kind of my thing, was to, well, I should just leave. That's sort of like very much like your imposition definitely affected like the rank and file of possessed people. John Knight is knocked back, and like seeing this is not his moment, slinks away, because villains do that. So that happens there. So they give you like, so what does it look like when you, because now it's you and Torque meeting for Torque for the first time.
I
Like,
think this is nearly the end of my part of the episode, so I think there's a moment where there's like just this empty room and things falling in the occasional spark, and like he looks at her and she looks at him and he just goes, "Torque," and I think that's actually
I think like sort of like he just says like, "Are you from the future?"
Bum, bum, bum.
Sick. So like that sort of moment of just like her like obviously knowing like, yeah, I'm smart. I know how future works. Also, this is clearly something I made. I don't remember making this, but I made it, so it's awesome. Yeah, right. That's sort of just like, yeah, sick. You're from the future. I made time travel happen. So cool. So that's sort of like the vibe there. Of like if we had another, which not, but we had another episode, we'd actually see a bunch. Like we'd see that development happen, right?
Right.
It would be weird. So cool.
Not the kind of straight laced thing we've been doing up till now.
No. It would be. Listen, but this is a very Facebook series of relationships. So, all right. So with that, Rich.
Yes.
You're able to with Mist catch up to Lilith and Tessa. So they're about to step into what looks like an ancient portal, like a mirror sort of thing. You play the Dragon Age games at all?
Oh gosh, I played some of Dragon Age Inquisitions.
Okay, so like those like mirror sort of things that step into like the Elven realm, those sort of things, like that vibe, right?
I got
That vibe, right? But they're beautiful as fuck, is what I'm saying. So, and not like dark and gothy or anything, but very like they're very elven.
Oh, hiss.
Yeah. Okay. Did you turn back into a vampire just so you could hiss?
I can't hiss as a mist. It would seem redundant.
Fair enough. I don't understand how vampiric mist decorum works, so I'll defer to you on that. All right, Jason, take a grandeur for a hissed. Take your grandeur for a hissed. And let's move on. So y'all are terrible people and I love you like you're my children. So Darkholm. You're there. Lilith is there and Tessa's there, and Tessa looks let's say she looks possessed, right? We know what that looks like, right? And Lilith says, it looks at you just like with absolute annoyance. Just like, you would challenge me in my own domain.
You have taken one that I love.
Hunger is not love.
What do you know of love? You've called yourself lust. Give me Tessa, and I will leave you in peace.
You think you've earned peace after this? Very well, Predator. Have your prize. And as she walks through the portal, you see her like Tess stays behind, but you see Lilith like with a hand draw her soul out to take her soul with where she's going.
Bam! I'm not allowing that. I'm trying to draw back with a vampiric sorcery. No.
Oh no, because no, it's 11:03. The time for die rolling is done, my friend.
Oh man, that's it. So it's just falling to the knees.
Yep. Bam.
Screaming at the sky.
The darkest sky.
I had to unmute myself just so you could hear me laughing.
So that's there. You get Tessa now, sort of.
I might as well make her a vampire so she can be weird.
Okay, we're not gonna have that in the scene right now. That would be its own extra. Like, do I make her a vampire or get her soul back or whatever? Right.
Post credit sequence of him embracing her.
Oh, okay, yeah. Fair enough. That's what you do. All right. So that is Katanas and Trenchcoats.
It certainly was.
Da, 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 da.
I'm taking one grandeur away from you, Jason.
I think we're still over 10, though.
You are still over 10, but I believe this one actually means that as far as my records go, Jason and Rich, you are tied for grandeur.
I have 7 down because you just took one.
I have 6.
Well, my records say that you only have 6. So you know what, Rich, you get 7 for being awesome.
Hooray!
Thank you.
Which gives you a total of 13 now.
Okay.
Because I accidentally said you get 7, not you have 7.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Oh, hey, that means we got 25 because if
yes. All right, congrats, you guys. You guys unlocked a rave scene for your characters.
This is only on the DVD extra, though.
Yeah. So there's a DVD extra of a rave scene.
Nice.
All right, so there you go. That's Katanas and Trenchcoats.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Ryan, for taking the time and the makeup to give us Katanas and Trenchcoats. Jason, I hope you've had at least as much fun as I have. I've laughed quite a bit. And
according to my records, he's had like roughly 50% of the fun you did based on grandeur.
There you go.
That's how I measure fun.
Twice as much fun as you've had, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Almost twice.
Almost twice.
Yeah.
I round up.
All right, fine. Take a grandeur for knowing how rounding works.
I'm pretty sure that the rules say that we have to end at the same grandeur, right?
No. Not no, they don't.
Can we add that rule? I think we could add that.
Oh, does he get an XP? Does he get an XP for our rules?
No, trust me. There were already dumbass bullshit I was doing in this. You guys got XP for the grandeur, XP for chasing after like deep yearnings and thrones of comfort, XP for the rules hacking, XP for showing your there's basically I think you hit every XP trigger that exists.
Okay.
So there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, again, this is Katanas and Trenchcoats. When will this version of Katanas and Trenchcoats be available?
Don't ask me that. Just follow me on the internets, and I'll say when. That's when, then it'll be like, hey, it's available now for the actual real pre-order. Backers right now have the current playtest rules, which aside from like the few notes I got back from my developer, pretty stable. I've got to put together the rules for the various splats that aren't totally fleshed out yet. That needed to have the core rules really hit hard with the hammer. And then a lot of the things, if you saw sort of me let's go with this, or let's go with that. I don't remember all the numbers, which is where I wrote them down and wanted to put them into a quick sheet. Because I did that math earlier. But as far as a lot of the you know what, let's call that an edge or whatever. My game is designed because I like running games like that. Where I'm just you know what, that sounds like a cool mechanic. Let's just go with that. Fate does that a little bit with the way stunts work. It's just that sounds like a stunt, right? And so I sort of took that ethos and said, no, that is deliberately the point of this thing, is to be able to say, no, that sounds like a permanent weird advantage that your character has, or you know what? Let's add this rule element to this incarnation of the game, and you get XP for the fact that we pushed the game in this direction. Right? Like these are some of the selling points that I look forward to when I realized that what I was trying to make was an experience that where like customizing it was very permissive, and rewarding, while not necessarily making it a situation where people feel like they can't jump into somebody else's game of Katanas and Trenchcoats. Be like, well, man, I don't even know how your rules work. It's like, yeah, exactly. Embrace that, right? Be like, things are going to get weird with this game, and that's kind of part of the point. And then you'll end up challenging that game and get XP for making dumb rules in that game, and even sort of call it like you make your own rules canon as part of your game. You don't just make story canon; you make rules canon as part of your game. So you see me doing that stuff. I'm riffing off of what you guys are doing. Like there's some rules canon I've kind of reused or some patterns I've done, but a lot of it is like, no, this is actually what's important here is for me to bring up this stupid thing. Right? Yeah. That's a lot of like what goes on there. And it's a lot of weird work to basically be like, let me explain to you how to design an ad hoc system that has enough framework that you don't have to do a lot of work to make it an ad hoc system, but it has enough reliability and enough points and dials that it works in that regard, right? Like making a fluid system is a lot harder than making a non-fluid one, or at least harder to do well. It's very easy to do poorly, extremely easy to do poorly, like super easy to do poorly. So, but yeah, anyway, that's a little bit behind the scenes of that. But follow me on the internets, the Twitters, the Facebooks, mostly I think the Twitters where I announce stuff like that at Ryan Macklin. When I use that, I tweet about, like I tweeted about the game from my account, and you'll find out when it comes out or hear about it from some of the means on the internet.
All right. Well, cool. Thanks, Jason, for joining us for both sessions. Thanks, Ryan, for running in Gauntlet City Limits, and we'll go ahead and end our video here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.